Here comes me again, house under construction, mess in the background. I am not going to be talking about the house anymore, my building journey. Today, we are talking about why I left the UK. Let me tell you, the UK was amazing. My first 2 weeks coming from Czech Republic, where I had spent 15 years, barely speaking the language, I finally was in a place where I could understand everybody. Finally, I can switch on the TV and everybody speaking English. I can speak to people at work, everybody understands me. I don't have to think too much about what I'm gonna say. And that takes, from what you are trying to say sometimes, so from the conversation, if you constantly have to think too much. So now I'm in a country where people understand me, conversations flow. It was amazing. And I think I had unrealistic expectations. In my mind, I am finally moving to this place where, it's gonna be like heaven. It's multicultural. We all know UK is like mini America. You meet people of all kinds, people from different backgrounds, people from different cultures, people who don't look like you, people who look like you. It's like a party, okay? So when I first got there, that in itself for me was the greatest thing ever. I had been to the UK before quite a few times because I have some friends who live in the UK. I had some friends before when I was still a student in Czech many years ago who lived in the UK. So I had been to the UK, actually to London, not any other place. I had been to London a couple of times. I absolutely enjoyed the nightlife in London. It was great. It was vibrant. It was everything that you can imagine that you see in the movies. So due to my experience in the UK when I went to visit, I decided I need to move to the UK. I moved to the UK March 2024. So I have only been in the UK actually for 7.5 months. I mean living, not visiting. I lived there for 7.5 months, and I knew by the 5th month that I wanted to leave UK and come to Botswana. Why did I leave? If I say that it was amazing, I made friends. Even within the 7 months that I spent there, I made amazing friends. I went to church, it was great. Work, some people were great, some people were not. Why did I leave? I left because you can guess. First of all, I did not like the weather. I was in Scotland. I actually undermined the whole thing of rains every day, the dark weather. When I used to visit UK, I thought, well, this doesn't really bother me. I'm living in Czech, it snows all the time. I have traveled all across Europe. I'm used to the snow, I'm used to the weather, it doesn't bother me. But rain, especially in Scotland, it rains a lot. I was in the Scottish Highlands, so over there it rained, I would say almost every day. If I had a day in the week where it did not rain, I was like, okay, this is like Christmas. But actually, I don't think a day where it didn't rain existed in my 7 months in the UK. I am sorry, in Scotland. I don't think so. That's one thing, but that's not the main thing. I think, rain, and if people are great, like I say they were, and it was easy to make friendships, that's not enough reason for me to leave. The main reason is what you suspected and what you probably expected when you clicked on this video. Do not say you did not expect that, because that's what most of us have experienced. If you're a person of color, if you're a black person and you live in the West, you know exactly why I would want to leave, and you know exactly the main thing that would bother me. Probably it has bothered you too. So when I got there, I enjoyed how everybody is really welcoming, and most people mean it, but some people did not. And I wanted to mention that this time around, it wasn't the native people of the land. It was other experts, other people of color, It started with them. I want to say that it started with them, where you get some microaggressions, and then it just goes up and becomes something that you think, well, this is something that actually offends me, but it's not too big for me to make a decision to leave. And then it just keeps on, once it starts, it only gets worse. If you've been in a situation that you probably can guess I'm talking about, of discrimination and all of that. Once it starts, from my experience, having been in Czech, I was like, okay, once this starts, I know that it does not get better, it gets worse. And my reason actually for leaving Czech Republic was mainly that, plus the isolation. I will talk about why I left Czech Republic in another video, but let me talk about the UK. So I think my expectations were unrealistic in the fact that I expected everybody, since it's multicultural, to be welcoming. I expect everybody to understand that me as a professional, just like them, I am intelligent, I am competent, and whatever they can do, I can do too, or maybe even better, or they could do it better than me, but whatever the case is. I expected that since it's multicultural, people understand that a person like me can be an intelligent professional as well. And if they have that kind of job, I don't know if I should mention my job, whatever, but in my profession, people should understand that for me to get to that point, I must have worked hard, I must have some level of intelligence to be able to do that kind of job. So when that happened, when the doubting and the microaggressions and the accusations started, I was just like, bye, I am not going to be able to handle the situation. Honestly, I could not handle it because you have to understand, again, I'm coming from a place where I'm running away from something. So it's like, am I running away from discrimination? Am I running away from people doubting me? Am I running away from the microaggressions? Only to go to a place where I'm experiencing the same thing. So to me, it did not make sense at that point, because as a medical doctor, I spend most of my time, if not all of my time, really working. So professional satisfaction is very important for me. It is important for me that, if I get into places, I'm allowed to work, I'm allowed to do what I've been trained for. I am also trusted that I can do what I have been trained for. Obviously, for people to trust you, you have to somehow prove yourself. But even to prove yourself, you need to be given a chance to prove yourself. You need to be given a platform to prove yourself and be allowed to work so that you prove, okay, this is what I know, instead of a thing where you are, I think you're put in a position where you are made to look like you don't know, or you are kind of prevented from doing some things or doing some work just so that they can say, oh, actually you don't know how to do that, but you never really had the chance to do it. So yeah, that was my experience. I think you get the point. That was my experience at work. And when comparing the place with home, yes, I had really great friends that I had just made in the UK. The social life, I think, was great, was going to be even better because I was new there and I already had friends from church. I had friends that I met, some of them in the hospital. So I think it was going to get even better because I was only there for 7-8 months. But when it comes to work, I was not willing to keep on trying, right? I wasn't willing to find out whether it was going to get better or worse. Actually, to me, it started a little bit like small things, which I told one of my friends who is also working as a medical doctor. She's a pediatrician in the UK, the one I used to visit before I moved. And she was like, oh, I think you should do this. I think you should take this a little bit more seriously. I think you should do something about it. And I was like, I think you're just like, overreacting. I think she's overreacting. I don't think this can get worse. But I saw it get a little bit too much uncomfortable for me, and I was not willing. I didn't see the point. I did not see the point at all, because I was leaving something in Czech Republic for me to go into it. I wasn't willing. And yeah, I was saying when I compared, the pros and the cons, and I was like, wow, this is an amazing place. I'm in the West. There's a lot of conveniences that comes with being in the West. If you go to offices and you do stuff, things happen quickly, you don't have to wait too long. Although I saw that in regard to that, or things working effectively on time, I feel like Czech Republic was a lot better. But yeah, so I left my family in Botswana, so I did not have family in the UK. So that was another thing. I said to myself, well, you don't have your family here. You have sacrificed a lot. You don't get to see your nephews and your nieces growing up. You don't get to be the auntie that they deserve, the auntie that they want to be around. They don't really know you. You're just somebody that they hear about, that, well, you have an auntie and she's been living abroad for 16 years. And so I missed my family and I wanted to be around them. I still want to be around them. I think if I have to leave them behind for anything in the future, it's going to be for something that I feel like, okay, this is worth it. And you will ask, why then did you stay in Czech Republic for 16 years, for 15 years, and then in the UK for only, not even for a year, for only 8 months? If you really loved the social life in the UK and you think it was a lot better for you than in Czech Republic in terms of friends and stuff. Well, in Czech Republic, I had something that I was working towards. First of all, I was studying, I did my undergrad there. Then I decided to do my postgrad, my residency in the Czech Republic. So I had to stay because I was working towards something. I wanted to complete my education and I wanted to complete my training. I couldn't just up and leave, no matter how uncomfortable, how painful some days were. I just had to finish what I started. About the UK, I was working a job that I wasn't necessarily working towards something in terms of getting a certificate or in terms of getting a master's or in terms of getting a qualification at the end of it. It was just a job, which I think that a job, you can have a job anywhere in the world. And especially in my profession as a medical doctor, I can work literally anywhere I want, and I can work home and make pretty much, the same amount of money, or maybe even more if I work in private. It depends what you want to do, okay? So I believe that money is everywhere. You can make it anywhere. And for me, last year, I got to a point where I said, it's not like I'm making millions from this job for me to say, well, I'm going to stay no matter what, or I'm going to fight through it and I'm going to endure. I didn't feel the need to endure anything. And I don't know if I mentioned that the experiences that I had were from other people of color. I think I did. Were from other people of color, definitely not black people, but other people of color. And of course, when everything escalates now, it starts to involve other people, even, the local people. It starts to involve them, right? But initially, they were not the instigators. They did not start it. Yeah. And I also have to mention that it wasn't a lot of incidents. For me, it was just 1 or 2 incidents. And I knew right there and then that it's not like it's a lot, but having been in Czech and being in a place where I was probably the only person of color in a hospital at any point in time in all the places that I've worked at, I was not willing to go through it. Probably if I had gone to the UK just coming from Botswana, I think I would have absolutely loved it. And I probably would have fought a little bit harder to stay or endured, because I do believe that in any place that I go, there are going to be some challenges that I'm going to have to fight. But for me, the pros have to outweigh the cons. I have to see that I'm in this place and there is one thing or a reason that I'm in this place for, and for that particular reason, I would do anything to stay. For that particular reason or that particular goal, I would fight. I'll I'll do anything to stay. Okay, so for me, I did not have that. And if I don't have a goal in particular, if I don't have like a serious goal that I have to reach, I don't. I just, I just don't, because I feel like it is a waste of my energy. I could use my energy to progress. I could use my energy to develop myself. I can use my energy to create, even to start a business or something. I can use my energy to be a better human being, financially, emotionally, mentally, instead of spending it fighting battles that do not lead anywhere, right? Fighting battles that will not lead me to get, anything worth my time. So yes, that's why I left. It was this for this probably two particular reasons: the weather and uncomfortable situations at work. I probably could have gone to another place, but like I say, I wasn't willing to explore. I wasn't willing to go around and find out that it's the same everywhere. For me, it was like, okay, you left, take care. Where you were training, where you got something of value, because it was uncomfortable because of certain reasons that I just mentioned. And now you are in the place that is the same, and this time around you're not working towards anything. So I left and decided to come home. I am home now, and I will talk about my, how I'm adjusting back home, if I'm loving it, if I'm regretting leaving the UK before I explore other places. I was in a very, I would say, remote area. It was northern Scotland, and I think the people were amazing. The Scottish people there were amazing. The local people were amazing, but I have not explored other places, so maybe I will see. Maybe with time I will say to myself, hey, why didn't you explore England? Why didn't you go to London? Maybe I will regret, but at this point in time, I'm happy about my decision to leave. I'm happy that this time around I chose myself, not the idea or not the image that I had of the place. As much as it was unrealistic, and I probably should have expected that it's going to be nice, it's going to be better, but it's not going to be perfect. I should have expected that, right? But I guess I had this, idea of I'm in London for holiday and every day is probably going to feel like a holiday. I don't know if that's the case. All I know is some incidents, some stuff happened, and I was not willing to fight for it. I did not think that it was worth it. I think that my peace is more important. And as I have grown older, I believe that every one of us deserves respect. And I hope that this video, in some way or another, whether you are black, white, blue, green, that you learn something and that you learn to be more kind, that you learn to be more respectful, that you learn to challenge your own perceptions that you have about certain groups of people, that you learn to change your own biases, that you fight them instead of fighting the people that you have those biases about, that you go within yourself, not without, and you build yourself up as a human being. You teach yourself to be kind. Even I am talking to myself that to be more kind, to be kinder, to be loving, because we all know everybody fights their own battles, everybody has their own challenges. And if somebody is especially an expert, they are in a new place, they are in a foreign area, they're still trying to find their feet, they're still trying to find out who they are and what they want, and they're probably fighting a lot of other issues, family issues, personal issues. And the last thing we want to do is to add to what they have to fight, is to add to their misery. Give kindness, receive kindness, give love where you need to give it, and receive love. Let's all be kind to one another. Let's all be respectful of one another, no matter where we come from, because we all have a story, and especially if you're a person of color, that should not come from you. And I think we speak less about this thing, right? We don't speak much about it. When we hear or when we see videos like this one, we hear mostly about a certain group of people that, okay, this group of people, these people are the perpetrators and this is what they do to us, which to some extent sometimes can be true, but we rarely ever speak about, us as people of color attacking each other. And these are some of the conversations that we need to have, right? We need to have these conversations amongst ourselves, within ourselves, and see how we can change. The world will not change if we don't change. It starts with you, it starts with me. The world is not made of a certain group of people that are there and you are here, right? It's made of us. The world means us as a people. You who is watching, me who is right here behind the camera, we are part of this world. And we will make it better by being kinder people. So be kind so that not one more person has to say, I left this place because of the people. Be kind so that people will say, I had an amazing time in this country. I had an amazing time in the city. Just as much as I'm saying I left because of that, I can confidently say there were some amazing friends of mine in the Scottish Highlands who I will never forget in my entire life. Their kindness, their love literally transformed who I was. When I got to the UK, I received a lot of love from a lot of people, But I will always remember those people, even though that did not make me stay. The one thing for me that mattered, which was professional satisfaction, made me leave, right? It made me leave. But social life, there were some amazing people which I'll always remember. So go out there and be one of those kind of people so that people will say, I'll always remember that country. I'll always remember the impact that it had on me, the hope in humanity. And I will always love that place. And I'm willing to go and visit again, right? But this time around, also in your workplace, be the one person where a person will say, you know what, I love that workplace, and because of that one person, I will want to go and work there again. Or, that a person will say, I don't want to leave this workplace because it is so amazing, because these people are so kind, right? I know that nothing is perfect and no place is perfect. I know that for sure.